Hello everyone! Hi, and welcome to another episode of Seeker's Corner with me, Paige, the Fat Feminist Witch. I've got a super special guest today. Oh, and he's very nervous, so I apologize. This, everybody, this is Jimmy Hoppa. He's my little bunny friend. He's part mini lop and part Holland lop. He doesn't really love to snuggle, so he's not going to be able to sit here through the whole episode with us. But I just wanted to show you that there are some alternatives to familiars and working with animals for witches than the classic black cat, although I love cats too. You should see how many cat figurines I have in my house. This is my only bunny figurine. Oh yeah, he's trying to run away and he's trying to bite me. So Jimmy here is really nice. He lives here, just him and I. He's a really good bunny for one person. And he does get involved sometimes when I'm doing magic or spells. His way to get involved is usually to sit nearby. He likes to sit on this little antique suitcase I have and either watch what I'm doing. Prefers to stay on the ground, so he'll look up at the altar and he'll look up at me and he'll pay attention. Or if I notice when I get into kind of a serious, psychic trance almost, when I get into it really heavy, I'll notice that Jimmy is standing between me and the door to the room that I'm in and watching out the door. He actually plays guard bunny sometimes when I'm doing magic and I'm in kind of an alternate state. Oh, you look so sad. I'm so sorry. He doesn't really like to be held or cuddled, but he is a very attentive pet. He loves to hang out. He actually nibbles on some of my magical herbs like the mugwort here, which he has decimated before. That's why it's so small still. So he likes the magical herbs, and he contributes a really nice energy to the home. Bunnies have a really happy, positive kind of trickster energy, but in a good way. I'm very fortunate that Jimmy here doesn't chew. Oh, Bunny, you need to relax. I'm going to put him down soon. I hope you guys don't mind. He doesn't really love to be off the ground. He's a little afraid of heights. Okay, thanks, Jimmy. Bye-bye. Here you go. He got me pretty good there. So, yeah, he is not just like a fluffy, anything goes kind of animal. He is a very territorial, very protective animal. He's very protective of me when other animals are in the home or people he doesn't know. He'll actually stand in the doorway to my house and thump his foot. Bunnies actually do that. And thump his foot to make people go away. So before you think that bunnies are kind of this weak animal, that is so not the case. They have a ton of really strong magical energy. They also have very positive and happy magical energy. And Jimmy's hops and bounds around my house. He gets underneath, especially underneath furniture and other things I have around the home. He gets into dark spots. He loves to explore. He's very inquisitive and checks stuff out, even though he doesn't go up very high. So he keeps a lot of the energy in my house moving. Even though he does take naps and he relaxes and he loves to be kind of lazy during the day, he does move around a lot. And constant movement in your house just gets the energy moving a lot better. All animals do this. This is part of the reason cats are so good to have around the house. They clear out any sort of negative energy. Now, in the description for this episode, I said I'm going to talk about rabbit magic, some folklore about magic, and how to work with magic as your patronus. That was just kind of my fun Harry Potter nerd way of saying working with rabbits as kind of a totem animal. Now, if you've, he's staring at me. He's not very happy with me right now, and he's cleaning his fur because he's mad that I touched him. He's, honestly, Jimmy Hoppa, he's kind of a bitch. There's a reason he's got that name. So, rabbits are really sweet, but they don't all love to be cuddled. If you're looking for a cuddly pet, rabbits might not be the one for you. So, they're so funny. They're so bad. They're so bad, but they're so great as pets and as friends. So, rabbits are a really interesting magical animal. Whereas a lot of animals, especially totem or spirit animals, their energy kind of comes through at certain seasons or with certain events. And, you might think of rabbits only in the springtime and around Easter or Ostara, if that's what you celebrate. Rabbit magic is actually really good all year. If you've ever been to a place where there are a lot of rabbits in the wintertime, like January, February, you're going to see so many bunnies outside. Bunnies love to hang out in the snow. Bunnies are really good in all seasons. In the summertime, they might get a little bit warm and sweaty and have to cool off. but they're still out there. You can see rabbits at any time of year, and they are out there living at any time of year. So anytime you need that rabbit energy, it's available for you. Rabbits are also historically one of the most prominent animals to be associated with witches and witchcraft. Everybody thinks of the black cat and of cats in general, and a lot of people might even think of things like toads or owls, because these are really kind of spooky nighttime animals. But rabbits are nighttime animals too, even if they don't seem quite so spooky. Ooh, got some incense going on. The dangers of being a witch, you always have incense smoke in your face. But rabbits have been associated with witchcraft for hundreds of years. Actually, there are instances in Europe where they were doing some witch trials, which I don't agree with, where multiple witches claimed that they could turn into rabbits, or that they had turned into rabbits to decimate the gardens of someone that they were accused of, doing witchcraft on, things like that. Rabbits are also associated with the moon. In China, the man in the moon is actually the rabbit on the moon. So this rabbit lives on the moon, and he lives on the moon or lives in the moon. He's the image of the moon. And it's usually a rabbit standing upright with his 2 ears up. Jimmy's got fallen down ears, but 2 ears up, stirring or pounding into a mortar and pestle. And this rabbit on the moon pounds that mortar and pestle to mix the elixir of life for the goddess of the moon, for the moon goddess. So rabbits have been associated with lunar energy for just as long as they've been associated with springtime and daytime and flowers. So rabbits are not necessarily just they still fit into that creepy nighttime animal theme that a lot of people think of when it comes to witchy animals. Like I said, rabbits are associated with lunar energy, so things like hidden knowledge or invisibility, not like an invisibility cloak, but kind of blending into the crowd. Divination, lots of divination and magic. Animals in general are very magical, but rabbits are very magical animals, and having them nearby or working with you in your magic and your witchcraft can strengthen that energy that you have going on. Energy and swiftness and agility in general are common themes with rabbit magic. Spontaneity, abundance, lots of good luck and good fortune. In the Chinese zodiac, the rabbit sign is said to be the most fortunate and the most lucky sign of the zodiac, and those people born in those years are said to be very lucky. I'm not a rabbit. I wish I was. I'm a tiger, which is still cool, and I love cats, so that's pretty great. If you guys are a rabbit, let me know, and if you feel lucky all the time, I'd love to hear about it. What else do I have here? So, witches are still considered a common familiar for rabbits. This is something I found online, and I thought, I don't think so. I didn't think that there were many other witches out there who had rabbits, whose rabbits had got involved in their magic. But after a few posts online about Jimmy, I found tons of witches that were working with rabbits, or they had pet rabbits at home, and they had a lot of the similar experiences that I did. So that's a little bit of background on the rabbit magic. I forgot to mention, if you guys have any comments that you'd like to share while I'm doing my little broadcast here, I might not be able to answer them right away, but leave a comment. I can read them on my screen, and I might respond while we're in the thick of it here. So I've got a comment here. Let's see what it says. Oh, I'm a rat. Oh, rats are a nice sign. My little brother is a rat as well, and they're very, he's super smart. They're very smart, and they're very resourceful. So rats are and rats as an animal, that's another one I love. I could talk to you guys about working with small animals and magic all day long, because I love small animals. Let's see, some other places you might have seen rabbits in magic. There is a rabbit constellation named Lepus, the hare. It's named by Ptolemy. This is it's near Orion, but it's usually more of a southern hemisphere constellation. So if you live in the southern hemisphere, you have a unique opportunity to see Lepus on a more regular basis in your summertime, or in your wintertime months. Sorry, your wintertime months. As far as rabbit's feet go, this is something I did talk about on the blog one time on Friday the 13th. Rabbit's feet are a super popular, I'm sure you've all seen them, good luck totem. They're usually a keychain. I would show you one, but I don't have one because I have a rabbit in the house, and I feel like it would be kind of rude to walk around with a rabbit's foot, dangling on a keychain. It's really just not for me. But you know, there's fake ones out there if that really bothers you, of course. Rabbit's feet are said to be good luck, especially if it comes from the left foot of the rabbit, although I'm not sure exactly why. They're especially popular in southern U.S. magic, lots of hoodoo and voodoo and root work. You find a lot of rabbit's feet and a lot of good luck with rabbits. People use rabbit's feet as a good luck charm when they're gambling especially, and to ward off any sort of bad luck. A lot of people will dress their rabbit's foot oil with a Van oil, and I know that some hoodoo and voodoo companies will sell a little vial of Van oil with a rabbit's foot, which is a cool little set. I went to a metaphysical store one time and I bought just the Van oil out of that kit because I was like, I can't bring home a rabbit's foot. So she gave me a little discount and she kept the rabbit's foot for herself. And I saw her post it on Facebook later. It made me really laugh. But dressing the rabbit's foot with Van oil is said to increase this good fortune. Like I said, I am so not one to have a rabbit's foot dangling off of a keychain. I just find it kind of rude, especially to my own rabbit. But you can carry little wooden totems of rabbits, little rabbit imagery to kind of work with that energy all the time, especially if you don't have your own rabbit. If you can find any sort of pendant or picture of the Lepus constellation, you can hang that in your space to bring in some of that magical energy. Please do not harm rabbits for their rabbit's feet, because I like to say that didn't seem so lucky for the rabbit. And I really agree with that. Please don't hurt rabbits for magic. I feel like hurting rabbits to obtain, or hurting any animal really, to obtain a magical tool really just brings bad vibes. Super bad vibes. Bad juju, as Lafayette from True Blood would say. But it's all bad vibes when you hurt another living thing just to harvest its parts for magic. I feel like you're not doing anything so kosher there. So, as I said, and as you saw with Jimmy and his slight attack, I wonder if he really did bite me. Look at it. He's not really a biter. He was pretty mad. Rabbits are not so like fluffy, bunny, and sweet. Rabbits fight back. Those back legs are if you've ever been kicked by a rabbit, especially a hare or a jackrabbit or like a Flemish giant, something really huge, oh my God, you'd have to stop and catch your breath. Rabbits are tough. They don't seem tough, but they are. Rabbits are also very stealthy. If you live in a place with just lots of wild rabbits, I'm sure you've had an experience where you're just kind of looking around and all of a sudden a rabbit materializes in front of a bush or something like that, and you realize it's been sitting there the whole time. Rabbits are, I swear, rabbits are almost as good at camouflage as chameleons. All of a sudden, rabbits just pop out of nowhere. They come up out of the ground. They come up out of the shadows. They're just all around you all the time, and you have no idea because they're too stealthy. Rabbits are really good for any sort of magic where you feel like you're being hunted or you feel like you need to hide out. Think of rabbits as your invisibility cloak of magic. Use the rabbit archetype or any sort of rabbit magic. You can even, pull a little bit of fur off of your rabbit if he's shedding. Don't pull it out from the root. Again, no hurting animals for the sake of magical ingredients. You can incorporate some of this into what you're wearing that day, or you can make a little charm bag or a little sachet or mojo bag to help you kind of blend in with the crowd if you feel like you want to get around without being seen, or like you feel like there's too much attention on you all the time. I'm sorry. Jimmy is he's really giving me an evil look. Just a really evil look. I'm going to have him on the show again sometime. This is pretty funny. I wish I could catch him again. Rabbits are, of course, very funny trickster animals. If you've ever watched cartoons and you've seen some Bugs Bunny gets into some wacky adventures. He's a real cross-dressing classical music-loving bunny, and I respect that. Rabbits are said to be the trickster, one of the tricksters of the animal kingdom, but in more of a positive way, whereas the coyote is your kind of main animal as far as the trickster energy goes. The rabbit is a little bit more stealthy, a little bit more small, and a little bit more positive. You have a little bit more of a fun aspect, a little less hyena-like laughter, and a little bit more feeling that warmth in your heart. That's a really fun energy you can work with in your magic all the time. If a rabbit appears to you in any sort of vision or meditation, like a totem animal or a guide for you, it may be that your luck is changing, or it may be that you need to change course. So rabbits, when they run away from a predator of some kind, they don't just scoot forward. Trust me, they don't just run in a straight line. They run like this. They zigzag all over the place. They practically fly. They will jump in the air and really get some air and get pretty far. Rabbits are very good at evading attack and changing course and instinctually knowing when to change course. So that could be a message from a rabbit totem that you may have coming in that you may not really recognize. So if you have a lot of dreams about rabbits or visions of rabbits, if you start seeing rabbits everywhere, even if they're fake rabbits, like this one here, take that as a sign that you need to change your luck a little bit. It could be that good luck is on its way, or it could be that you need to start making your own. If you've ever felt victimized or like a victim, and I don't mean to say that with a smile, that's just my TV face. If you've ever felt like a victim or like you've been victimized, like I said, if you ever feel like you're being hunted, working with a rabbit animal totem to try to get some security and to feel confident in your ability to protect yourself and to protect and to get away, a rabbit totem is a really, he's drinking that water bottle again. The rabbit totem is a very comforting and strong animal in the face of being hunted or victimized. So if you have ever felt that way and you need some sort of talisman or totem to help with that in your magic, consider a rabbit. Rabbit totems and rabbits in general also are a symbol of quick thinking and, like I said, instinctively knowing when to zing and when to zag. They're very good at creativity and creative problem solving. So if you have a problem that you're trying to work through magically, bringing in rabbit energy can only help with that. Especially if you have something like a rabbit candle that you can dress in some other oils for clarity and for creativity and for strength. That can be a really great little spell for strength and problem solving, quick-wittedness, being smarter, being a little bit more clever. Rabbits are symbols of all of this. Of course, you can't ignore the screwing like rabbits. Rabbits love to procreate. And this is part of a defense mechanism that rabbits have. And this might be a physical thing. I mean, if you're a scientist and you study rabbits, and I'm talking out my ass, let me know. But as far as magical people are concerned, a lot of times the constant procreation of rabbits is often seen as a defense mechanism to make sure that their species does continue on. And I think it's working, because if you ever live near somewhere with rabbits in the spring, there are just bunnies everywhere. They lay little nests all over the place. So fertility magic, anything to do with procreation, fertility, abundance, making lots and lots and lots, definitely rabbits. Also, it works with sexuality. If you want to have lots and lots and lots and lots of sex, maybe you don't want it to go as quick as rabbits' sex does, but fertility magic and sex magic, all of that can use your rabbit totem. In fact, a lot of the things that rabbits eat and a lot of the herbs associated with rabbits are also associated with fertility and with sexuality and sexual potency and virility and all of that stuff. The most obvious would be carrots. Carrots and bananas, which, although maybe not classically associated with rabbits, I can tell you that rabbits absolutely love. That carrots and bananas are both used for fertility and for sex magic, partly because of their shape, but these are both rabbits' absolute favorite traits. So they're very much associated with the rabbit as well. If you're working with your own rabbit, like Jimmy here, feeding him little bits of carrot and little bits of banana, they can't have a lot, which sounds odd. But give him the tops of carrots, the leafy tops. He can have as much as he wants, or she. But the actual carrot is a little too sugary. So feeding them carrots and banana before doing any sort of ritual and inviting them into their space can be a way to get them in the right mood to help you out with your magic. A few of the other herbs and foods and things like that work with rabbits are alfalfa. Alfalfa seems pretty natural with rabbits, but it doesn't seem like a magical herb. Probably because it smells so much like petting zoos and stuff. People have kind of a different association. But alfalfa is a very lovey herb. It's ruled by Venus, and it's also very protective and brings prosperity. Don't you just love that? It's really weird, but so many herbs for money also work with love. I firmly believe that love and money in our society anyways are so intertwined that our love magic, all love magic performed, has some element of prosperity or money magic worked right into it, even if it's not obvious. Definitely. Look at love spells now. You'll see it. Or even money spells. You'll see it. A lot of those herbs are also for sex or love. Every time. And alfalfa is definitely one of these. You can carry it with you if you don't mind smelling like a bunny barn. Or, again, you could feed it to your rabbit. If you have an adult rabbit, they should mainly eat timothy hay, so alfalfa would be the treat. Again, before ritual or something like that. You could even keep it as something special that you have specifically for ritual times to invite your rabbit in. You can also keep a small jar of alfalfa in your kitchen or near your rabbit's cage to keep all of you from going hungry. Just a small little witch jar. And infuse that with some energy to keep you from going hungry. Think of things like, I always have enough food in the house and I feel satisfied. Or keep it with your rabbit's food if you have some trouble affording some of your rabbit's upkeep, and think the same kind of things for them. Holly, again, is not one that is associated with rabbits, but in the mundane world it is. Holly twigs are super good for rabbits to chew on. They love to chew on the wood. It helps their teeth, and the chemical makeup of holly is very good for rabbits and for the digestive system and everything like that. So holly is definitely associated with rabbits, and holly is definitely a magical plant. If you're lucky to live in a place where holly grows to trees, like in Vancouver or New Westminster where I used to live, I'm so jealous. And if you could send me pictures of the holly trees that live in Vancouver and New Westminster, like, I'm almost willing to pay money because I miss it. But even here in my climate, hollies grow in nice bushes and you can get nice thick twigs and the leaves and the berries off of it. Holly can be worked into your magic, especially around Christmas time, obviously. But holly is actually a fiery plant and is good for any sort of fire festival. So if you're working with rabbit energy to try to increase energy or virility or creativity, if you're trying to work yourself up with your rabbit magic, you might want to include some holly because it really fits with that idea, and your rabbit will love to chew on the twigs. Dandelions, another one that rabbits can eat, and almost all of them have them in our yards, and you should keep them in your yards because they are so good for your environment. Not only do bees feast on dandelions in the beginning of spring, but rabbits eat almost every part of the dandelion. They eat the roots, they eat the leaves. When Jimmy needs a treat because he's being really good, I honestly go to the yard and I pluck out a big dandelion. And he loves it. He eats all of it, even the flower. Dandelion flowers are associated mostly with health. Dandelion is incredibly healthy. It's also very calming, and it soothes anxiety, things like that. Helps with stomach problems. So dandelion tea or dandelion wine, if you're getting a little bit wacky or a Ray Bradbury fan. All of these can be used in your magic. You can even dry out the roots from the dandelions you have growing in your garden and make yourself some tea with it. You can feed it to your rabbit, and you can work it into any sort of spells that are for clearing energy, for adding a little bit more positivity, and for good health. Basil, I'm not sure if all rabbits love basil, but my rabbit loves basil. If I can't even have a basil plant inside the house because he will climb up onto things to get to it. And as I said, he's afraid of heights. He climbed up into a greenhouse to get at my basil plant one time and nearly ate all of it. He loves basil, so I associate basil with rabbits now all the time. And basil is like one of your ultimate witch plants. When you first get started with witchcraft, if you started with Wicca in the 90s, everyone's like, get yourself a basil plant. They're intensely easy to grow. I mean, it's so wild how easy they are to grow. They just shoot up, they get beautiful leaves. You can eat them in salads or in any sort of food. I like to put them right on sandwiches. Pizza. Fresh basil on your pizza is the way to go. And rabbits love basil. Basil is another one of those very fiery herbs. So it's very fiery, it's associated with fire and with the sun especially, and it's for mostly prosperity and again a lot of energy and virility. Basil is seen as kind of a multi-purpose herb. A lot of witches use it for protection, a lot use it for magic and divination. It's a lot like the rabbit himself. You can use the basil for almost any of your magical uses because the basil itself is inherently magical, much like rabbits. They're so magical that their use is far and wide across your magical everything you do. And then, of course, there's clover, which is commonly associated with fairies, because we're getting in there again. But rabbits themselves are commonly associated with fairies. There's lots of rabbits in the fairy kingdom. Rabbits were often seen as what would drag you down into the fairy kingdom. Think of Alice in Wonderland and the white rabbit who's late. He's late. And he hops down the hole and Alice follows him because kids are weird. Although I might have followed a rabbit in a vest as well. Who knows? Kids, man. But that kind of idea, Alice in Wonderland, that didn't come from nowhere. Rabbits are said to lead you both to the land of the Fae and to the land of the underworld. Rabbits are sacred to goddesses like Persephone, who is the queen of the underworld. And rabbits are said to be one of the guides that guide you to the underworld when you either finally move on or when you're trying to get to the underworld to communicate with other spirits who have passed on there. I think the rabbit is probably the least scary of all of the underworld guides out there. Some others are things like horses. So they're kind of large animals, whereas the rabbit is a little bit more comforting. So if you're looking to work with the spirit realm, rabbits are definitely your number one animal to check out there. If you're looking to do some work with spirits of the dead, or with astral projection, or visiting the land of Fae and using your rabbit or rabbit totems for that, also include some parsley. Again, parsley is one of those things rabbits love. They're related to carrots, so that the leafy tops of carrots are almost like a slightly less flavorful parsley, if that makes sense to those of you who've had raw parsley. Not a lot of flavor, but rabbits love parsley. Parsley can be used as a ritual incense and can be put into a ritual bath. It's supposed to protect you against any sort of negative entities, and it's supposed to help you travel a little bit more to the land of the dead. Parsley is also sacred to Persephone, just like the rabbit is. So working with both your rabbit and parsley when you're trying to communicate with spirits is a good way to, broach the subject, get all in there. Finally, if you're actually working with rabbits as a familiar, you can follow any sort of directions that you find for cats. So I like The Witch's Familiar by Raven Grimassi as far as all-encompassing familiar magic, and he does mention hares and rabbits in there. And working with a familiar, I can sit there and I can hold that bunny, but like you saw, it's not always going to work out. If you want to work with a rabbit as a familiar, you gotta make it worth that rabbit's while. You have to give it a reason to stay there, and you have to give it a reason not to zig or zag its little butt right up there. So I like to use alfalfa to kind of coax him into the space if I need to. I like to give him alfalfa where we're doing magical work. Although my rabbit is surly, and there's no way I could get one of these on him. Getting your rabbit a little collar with a protective talisman or a gemstone, especially something like Moonstone, which is your #1 magic or rabbit magic crystal. Something like that could help keep your rabbit safe, and it could also make it clear to the rabbit and to the universe that you're trying to make a magical connection with your rabbit. I got a comment. What do we got here? Does he ever show interest in your magic naturally? Yeah, he does. My altar's moved around quite a few times, but where it was in my room was in a corner, and along that same wall is the door to the bedroom. My house is not laid out very well. So while I was working on my altar in the corner, at the beginning of my ritual, a lot of times he'll stand on, I have an antique suitcase that I keep a lot of my witchy stuff in that doesn't stay out all the time. He'll stand on top of that. It's like he's almost keeping it safe, and he'll watch what I'm doing. He'll watch my hands, while he'll keep an eye on me. He'll bump my leg with his nose and like sit nearby, and he'll even lay down and get comfortable right near my feet. If I'm getting really, really intense, or if I'm doing anything that involves chanting or a deep meditation, or if I'm burning a lot of incense with a lot of smoke, I find he backs off a little bit, and he would get between the door and I. And a few times, if something approached my apartment, and all the animals in my neighborhood love me and they hang out on my balcony. So If he could see animals outside the window, if someone comes upstairs, he thumps his feet and he gets right between me and the door. He's very protective and territorial that way. But he does definitely show interest in the magic. And every time I'm doing these broadcasts and I'm talking about magic, he's nearby. He's either sitting right here with me, or if I'm talking about something he doesn't seem to like, he thumps his feet or he gets kind of mad at me. So he does definitely get involved. He's got a lot of personality, and all rabbits have a lot of personality. They're a lot like cats in that way. Cats are such a great magical animal because they take no shit. None at all. And I'm telling you, that rabbit takes even less shit than most of the cats I know. But he doesn't wreck my stuff, which is nice. So working with rabbits is an interesting kind of energy. It's a fun, very powerful, energetic is the only word I can think of, very strong, like trickster fun energy. Even though they're a lunar animal and they're kind of chill and they're a little bit of a quiet animal, they've definitely got this very serious inner strength. Rabbits are strong on the inside, not so tough on the outside. They're a little bit fluffy on the outside. So when you work with rabbit magic and all of that rabbit energy, try to remember that it's inspiring you to find your own inner fire and your own inner strength, even if you feel on the outside that you're not so strong, or that maybe you're being hunted or victimized, or if you have bad luck. Remember, just like the rabbit, you've got that tough inner strength, even if you've got the soft skin on the outside. Any questions about rabbits or rabbit magic? If you guys have any questions or comments, you can leave them in the comment section, and they will come up on my screen so I can answer questions if you guys have them. Oh, come in here. It's so amazing. My cats are crazy in tune with my magic too. Yeah, I love how cats can get involved in magic. And a lot of people will say, you know, I bring my cat right into my magic circle, or he likes to hop up on my altar. And it's a little bit different with rabbits because they're probably not going to stay put, or at least my rabbit doesn't. If I move too suddenly or something, he gets kind of freaked out and he bolts. He's a little bit of a scaredy bunny. But he doesn't get up on the altar, he doesn't crawl into my things, but every now and then I find him munching on one of my magical herbs. Like I said, he has munched on this mugwort more than one time, which is safe, I looked it up. And oftentimes when I find him munching on the mugwort, it's usually during a full moon. And I'm absolutely not making that up. Full moon time comes around and my bunny gets a little bit, I don't know how to say it, extra bunny. He jumps, he does crazy things, he comes outside a little bit more, and I will find him going through my closet and going through my witchy stuff, or munching on some of my magical plants. It's almost like he knows. It's like, hey, what's going on? It's full moon time. Why aren't we doing any magic here? So he does definitely get involved. And since rabbits are such a lunar animal, pay attention to your rabbit with the cycles of the moon. They're pretty interesting. If your rabbit has babies, a lot of times their entire baby cycle happens in a 28-day cycle. So 28 days later they got babies, and 28 days after that the babies are out of the nest. Rabbits are very in tune with that lunar energy. What kind is your rabbit? Do you think different kinds of bunnies have different magic? I actually do think that. My rabbit is, as far as I know, he's a little bit Holland lock, and he's a little bit mini lock. Now, there's rabbits and there's hares. Hares are slightly different. I mean, it's a difference almost like, you know, monkeys and chimpanzees. They're in the same animal family, but they are very different animals. Hares are a little bit more wild, and they're a little bit tougher. Hares, jackrabbits, all of those kind of wild animals, they've got a little bit more of a stronger energy, but they've also got a little bit more of that hiding quality. They're much better at camouflage. Now, my bright white rabbit, he sticks out like a sore thumb in most of the parts of my house. But if he lived in an outdoor area in the wintertime, you'd never find him at all. Hares and rabbits that are more outdoor colors, you know, shades of brown and stuff like that, and that live in the wild are experts at that camouflage, that bunny camouflage. So if you don't have a rabbit of your own and you're looking to work with rabbit energy, because their hair energy is kind of an alternative. It's a little bit more intense, a little bit more wild, and the one that is more commonly associated with witchcraft. As far as domesticated rabbits, the differences there are going to be very individual for you. So I love bunnies with floppy ears. And almost none of the magical stuff or even rabbit stuff you find anywhere has bunnies with floppy ears. I tend to find lop-eared bunnies to be just a little bit extra special because of that. Even though everyone knows lop-eared bunnies exist, and they're pretty much just as common as regular eared bunnies, there's something a little bit different about that lop-eared bunny. There's something a little bit more special and a little bit more rare. And I definitely find that Jimmy he's his own kind of rabbit, man. He's not like other rabbits I've met at all. Any other questions about rabbit magic? I think I forgot to mention, if you're working with your rabbit and you want to include crystals, your best bet, absolute best bet, and I'm not going to recommend a bunch of things, is Moonstone. Moonstone, or even a clear quartz, especially if you can find one that is a cluster with two little points sticking up that look like bunny ears. Have you guys ever seen that? I call those bunny quartz. No one else does, but I've seen little quartz clusters with two little spikes sticking out, you know, at random angles, and I call those bunny quartz a lot. But Moonstone, because of its association with the moon and because of the moon rabbit up there who's pounding his mortar and pestle full of the elixir of life for the moon witch, Moonstone is your ultimate rabbit stone. You can take Moonstone and you can hang it in your rabbit's cage or put it in with his bedding. You can put a small piece onto a little collar or something like this. Even a little collar or something like this that has a protective talisman. You can hang it on their cage or on their pen or wherever it is that they hang out, but Moonstone is going to be your best. And if you're looking to work with rabbits but you don't have a rabbit, getting yourself a nice piece of Moonstone can help you connect with that same kind of energy. Any other questions about rabbit magic? Do you guys want me to try to wrangle Jimmy again and get him back up here? I don't mind. I just have to get up first. Okay, I don't see anything coming out. So if you guys want a little bit more information about working with animals spiritually or about rabbits specifically, a couple of books I really like I said, was... Yes, I didn't see him. Okay, I will pick him up again. So you can work with, you can find Raven Gramassi's The Witch's Familiar, which talks about all witches' familiars and different kinds of animals. Animal Speak by Ted Andrews, I find to be one of the best and most relatable books on animal spirituality that you can find in almost every store. Ted Andrews is a really nice, relatable writer. I really like him. And then Animal Lessons, this is brand new, by Danielle McKinnon. It's new from Wiser Books. I just got it and I've just started it, but so far it's really great, and it's about working with animal spirituality, connecting with animals, working with animals on a more spiritual level and helping them spiritually speaking. Okay, so I'm going to get up and I'm going to go grab Jimmy. Adding those to my list ASAP. Yes, so far I really recommend Animal Lessons, even though I'm not even finished yet. I really do. All right, I'm going to grab Jimmy so that he can say goodbye, and then that will wrap up our second episode of Seeker's Corner. Hi. So, thank you guys for showing up to episode 2 of Seeker's Corner. Jimmy, thanks you too. If you guys have your own pet rabbit or you work with rabbit energy on a regular basis, I'd love to hear your stories, and I'd love to see your, sorry buddy, and I'd love to see your pictures. There you go, little friend. So thank you guys so much for showing up. Like I said, check out the books on animal spirituality. Share some stories with me, if you like. And if you are interested, shameless self-promotion, in these beautiful animal collars that have protective symbols on them, I do sell them in my own store. It's called Blue Moon Magic and Metaphysics. You can find it on Facebook and on Etsy. I'm going to put a link in the comments here if you guys are interested in grabbing one. They fit all small animals, so small dogs, small cats, rabbits. It works for all of them. Thank you all for showing up, and join me next Friday on Seeker's Corner when I talk about mugwort, my favorite witchy plant. This is my small mugwort plant because, like I said, Jimmy got a hold of it. But we're going to be talking about mugwort, the magical uses of mugwort, why it's my favorite, and I'm going to be showing off parts of the plant. So if you've never actually seen a mugwort plant, this will be a fun, magical, sketchy herb exclusive. So I hope you all have a wonderful weekend, and thank you so much for tuning in.